The morning had the kind of stillness that seemed to stretch time. The sun was only just cresting the horizon, spilling soft gold and copper light over the quiet countryside. Mist clung to the low fields, and the scents of damp soil, cut grass, and fresh life mingled in the air. On a modest farm nestled between green fields and the embrace of tall trees, Diep moved with practiced ease. Her hair, neatly braided, fell over her shoulder. The sleeves of her linen shirt were rolled high, revealing forearms dusted with hay. Behind the barn, she stacked bales while chickens clucked their commentary nearby and goats played lazily in the pen. Then, it happened. A bark split the morning air. Not just any bark, this one carried the warmth of memory. Diep froze, her breath caught in her chest. Her heart skipped, then pounded. Am I imagining this? She whispered to herself. Another bark followed, louder, clearer. Then came the unmistakable rhythm of paws against the dirt road. She dropped the hay, adrenaline surging, and ran for the gate, and there he was. Bon, her Bon. Thin, dusty, a little rougher than before, but undeniably him. His ears perked the moment he saw her. She cried his name, voice cracking, and Bon let out a whimper of pure joy. In the next heartbeat, he was in her arms, his tail whipping the air, his body wriggling as if to melt into her. Diep sank to her knees right there in the dirt, tears blurring her vision. I thought I lost you forever, she choked out, her hands trembling as they roamed his back. Bon answered with sloppy kisses to her cheeks, rolling onto his side, paws paddling in the air, as if recounting every moment of the month he'd been gone. She had searched for him endlessly. Through the fields, down every village lane, knocking on doors, hanging posters. She'd walked under hot suns and in cold winds, crying into the silence of countless nights. And yet, nothing, until now. The sky above was a flawless blue, dotted with clouds like cotton ships. Birds sang, oblivious to the miracle unfolding below. Diep rose, Bon still in her arms, her face streaked with tears and laughter. This was no ordinary morning. It felt like a blessing, dropped quietly into her life. Then came a thought, sudden, urgent. James, he had been her anchor through storms. The one who appeared on her porch with warm meals when she couldn't eat. The one who sat beside her in silence when words were too heavy. The one who had never given up hope. He needed to know. Her hand reached instinctively for her pocket, and stopped. The phone had died weeks ago, and with farm work and a tight budget, replacing it had slipped lower on the list of necessities. She looked down at Bon and smiled. Come on, buddy. Let's tell him in person. The road to James's cottage stretched 3 sun-drenched kilometers, with no shade to soften the summer heat. But Diep didn't notice the burn on her skin or the sweat at her neck. Her steps were light, lifted by joy. Bond trotted faithfully at her side, tongue lolling, eyes shining with the shared secret of the surprise they carried. Memories floated in with each step, James steady beside her during breakdowns, his presence like a lighthouse through fog. And now, she thought, she'd be able to give him something in return, a moment of joy. When they rounded the last bend, the cottage appeared, a picture of peace, surrounded by a garden alive with lavender and wild roses. James stood out front, hose in hand, watering the blooms. "James," she called from a distance. "Look who's home." He squinted into the sunlight, his gaze catching first on her slightly disheveled figure, then shifting, and freezing, on the dog at her side. The hose fell from his hand. "No way." His voice was half laughter, half disbelief. "Is that Bon?" Diep nodded, her eyes gleaming. "He's back. I didn't have a phone, so I walked." "I had to tell you in person. This isn't just my moment, it's yours too." James said nothing at first. His eyes, though, spoke volumes: gratitude, relief, and something quieter but deeper, a tenderness that had grown in the quiet spaces between them over months of shared silences, long walks, and wordless understanding. Without a word, he disappeared inside the cottage. When he returned, he held a small box, wrapped in a green ribbon. "For you," he said simply. Puzzled, Diep untied the ribbon and opened it. Inside lay a new phone, simple, elegant, the cream-colored case chosen with care. "You didn't have to," she began, her voice thick. "I don't want you walking 3 kilometers in the sun every time something important happens," he interrupted gently. "I want us to stay connected. And today deserves a gift." She looked down at the phone, fingertips grazing its smooth surface. But it wasn't the device that made her throat tighten, it was what it represented: thoughtfulness, presence, and the unspoken promise that she wasn't alone. "Thank you, James," she whispered. "Not just for this, but for always being there." He smiled, that calm, grounding smile that had steadied her so many times. "I think Bon just gave us the perfect excuse to start again." Or maybe, to continue. But with more light this time. They settled under the wide-limbed tree in his garden. Bon curled between them, the picture of contentment. Above, the sky shifted into shades of orange and rose, the evening breeze threading the air with the scent of flowers and something else: hope. And in that quiet, with no witness but the wind, something shifted. Not loudly, not suddenly. but deeply. A reunion. A gift. And perhaps, the beginning of something more.